How's your coffee? Okay, now it's like after the conclusion and how you can to meditate dissolution, and that is the representative of the emptiness, the simplicity, nature of the like mind free from any elaborations. And then it's like after the dedication, then here also it says, while practicing any meditation and recitation, including this one on VAJRASATTVA, like kind of the predominantly is like for example is this sadhanat and meditation recitation of the VAJRASATTVA as the teacher. And but any kind of one you to do like Shini Karmabadi meditation, Vipassana meditation, and any other like kind of to meditation, any kind of the deities, and using for the meditations and also recitations. And there is something is like kind of the very important. It is imperative not to let your mind be distracted from concentration on practice. And like kind of the imperative, very important, and not to get kind of a distracted mind, very important to concentrate which kind of the meditation, which you are doing the recitations. Of course, here we're talking about the VAJRASATTVA, but any other virtues, any other meditations. And also it doesn't matter meditation on the recitations. When you listen to the Dharma, when you like kind of contemplating the Dharma, meditate on the Dharma, any kind of the undertake the Dharma activity or the meditation, recitation or the purifications. It's a very important thing. Its mind could not distract from these concentrations on the practice, whatever you practice, and not to interrupt their recitation with ordinary speech. That, what does it mean? This means not to interrupt. Interrupt means when you recite the mantra, Om Benza Sato Samaya, oh bring me coffee, oh where's my cushion, where's the milk, sugar, like this sort of. And when you say mala and the holding, and benza sato samaya, there's no bread, benza sato samaya, there's the cheese. This sort of to interrupt the middle of the mantra, or you are like kind of the sitting like meditation. Certainly you say, where is my really back wallet? Oh, where I need like this kind of. If you interrupted the meditation and recitations, the practice, that is not very good. That means interrupt the like recitation or meditation. And with ordinary speech means it's like during this time is ordinary, like kind of the maybe like say good things or bad or criticize, or maybe it's like a kind of your daily business or some like this sort of very important not to interrupt. Maybe even if you recite 3 times, once that time to completely, fully, entirely like kind of recitation or meditation. Maybe if you say it's like 1 minute I want to meditate, exactly beginning of this 1 minute, middle, the end, 1 minute completely finish it. You say 1 minute, maybe few seconds you interrupt, not very good, like kind of like disturbing, make joke. For example, if you are looking something very important in the computer, and then suddenly ordinary speech, suddenly the internet stopped, and then what you have planned, whatever you have something ideas, that once distract is destroyed, it's difficult to continue like this. And therefore it's like any kind of doing things in the middle, something interrupted, not very successful, and therefore this is very important. Here is like the quotation, it's what is bad if you interrupt it. It is said in the tantras, reciting without concentration is like sucking a rock in the depth of the sea. Even for a whole kalpas, it will bring no result. Here is like a translations maybe is correct, probably I don't know, maybe to check, but anyway, if there is no concentrations, then it's like whatever you recitations is not kind of the result successful. The example is if some like kind of the very strong like a rock and some important things, maybe in the deep, in the middle of the kind of lake or oceans, and then it's like how much kind of years it's like kind of you turning like kind of the, but it's never coming out, like the seas or the oceans is as much as make like kind of turmoil, but this stone rock is never coming out. Like this, recite without concentration, without meditations, is like example is the Sokin is like kind of the like rock stones, rock in the depth of the sea. How they can coming out? Rock is very very heavy, and the sea is very deep. It's never coming out. Even though the whole kabas, it will bring no result. Like you may be 20, 30, whole your life recite meditation or recite the mantras, it's difficult to result. That is saying like this, no interrupt in the middle of your recitation or meditations. And also like another saying is like purity is the 1,000 times better than impurities, and concentration is the 100,000 times better than no concentration. And of course it's like you recite not really like kind of correct, and it is like if you say the om benzato samato or something like this, This between there is missing lot of different mentor, like this kind of, it's like not properly to say something like this. This is also like you recite correctly, precise, one recite, or like kind of the really half is okay, half is not, like this sort of, and you are 1,000 repeat, is properly, correctly to recite the single Mensasatos. If you're like a single, like the 100 sleepy mantra correctly, and instead that not really fully, someone says like this sort of, you are recite 1,000, but not very much, kind of the different like quality, different kind of the energy can come like this. And also concentration is the 100,000 time better than no concentration. Say, if you have more concentratedly to recite the one single 100 sleepy mantra without the concentration, maybe 1,000 times to recite mantra is exactly the same. Without the concentration, maybe 1,000 recitations, that not much kind of the benefit. But you are concentrated, no interrupted. One is like properly single recite of the 100 sleepy mantras, may be very much profound. Like this is like a normally, even the Buddha's teachings is like this. Maybe like kind of the in the sutta perspective, we are studying in order to realize the nature of the realities. But we have a lot of kind of the distract and interruptions, and a lot like kind of things, training process. And like through the lot of study, then we need to realize that the nature realities. That is like kind of the basically. Of course, it's like in the sutta, the authentic mantrayanas. If you really correctly, perfectly, someone's really to concentratedly, not interruptedly, like teaching or the like kind of listen, everything's. Maybe it's like few teachings can to realize the nature realities. Like this, it's like we are quickly be enlightenment or not, entirely depends that our mind's movement. Mind is all the times running after the some discursive thoughts, never kind of the to be in the state of the simplicity or the self-reflect, the relaxations. And then mind is difficult to catch. Mind is very, very difficult to be enlightened. That's for any kind of mixing ordinary gossips, mixed ordinary gossip, like kind of the positive, negative, good, bad, this sort of, with the recitation of the mantra or the approach practice. Renders that mantra impure. This is like kind of the really is like kind of the render the mantra impure, like a kind of the imitating like this. Here is like kind of approach. Approach is the sadhanat. Generally kind of the sadhanat is a combine. It is like kind of the bounded, like there's two things, like approach and unaccomplished. Like approach is like kind of the approach, near approach, and like unaccomplished, great accomplishment. This is like kind of the like all, like entire sadhanat is like kind of the system is approach and the accomplishment. Like this kind of the inside the sadhana, recitation. Recitation, it is like kind of mantra. There is like kind of the approach, and also it's like near approach. Like recitation of the mantra approach means you start to visualize and do preparations, and then is the like yesterday I said is the four door of the secret mantrayana sculptures. This is like first the like kind of door of the creation stage. It is the word and the meaning. and that you recite it, then you are coming into the how to visualize, how to purifications, how you can to visualize. These things is like approach. And then it's like inside you be ready, then it's like VAJRASATTVA Sama is to really to actually to meditate, to recitation is maybe it's like that is like the new approach means, and that moment it is like how do you say, it's like the door of the mental recitations here. And yesterday I sent it to you this one second how it says. I forgot it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Invoke deity, the second one.
Oh yes. The second invoking the that is like kind of the instead vatas, instead vata. This one is like quite difficult to translate. In Tibetan is the tudam, and instead vatas is the gate of the secret mantrayanas. And during this is like kind of the mental rations you invoke, and kind of the deities, kind of the realization, deities qualities is like kind of asking. For example, is the 100 sleep mantras. It says like kind of the Vajrasattva, can you be installed to me same as the qualities of the you, and through these purifications. And therefore this is like kind of the second door is invoke, means it's like kind of the you to bring into the qualities of the enlightened qualities is like this is like kind of the new approaches here. And then third one is a focus on pointedly. This is the gate of the samadhi. This is a very important samadhi. It is like how do you say, it's like to become perfect samadhi for the like the simplicity of the natural realities. Then you need like kind of the focus on. If there's no focus, there's no kind of the door of the samadhi occurring into our minds. And therefore it is very important to concentrate on the focal object of your minds, which is here is the Vajrasattva. And then is the third one is the using the like kind of secret signs. The symbol is the gate of the Muda. This is like kind of there's many different symbols and like kind of the signal or the signs, and this is like kind of how to say, it's like we are like meditate in the Vajrasattva, and there are the kind of the Vajrasattvas, all the symbols, signals is like we are meditating, like this is like kind of the we are also making the Muda of the Vajrasattvas, like how he's like kind of the holding this thing. This is also as like kind of to in like kind of the bestowal, or like kind of the very important to be like kind of the Vajrasattva. And like this, for instance, when we want to learn the doctors, we want to wish to become the great doctor, and then during the studies sometimes we are acting exactly the kind of the doctors, how you can to operate, how you can to holding the tool of the like the during the hospitalization to the people, treat like patients, and you are not actually acting, but it's like learning, and later you become the perfect doctor, like this sort of. And then it's like finally maybe it's like an accomplishment, and like a great accomplishment. Then the end, success for your sadhana, mental recitations. Then you receive like kind of the siddhi. Instead we say ordinary siddhi, or the like kind of the supreme siddhis, like enlightened, and like this. And likewise, gold or silver, if they are contain even small qualities of the bronze or the copper, are the considered not real gold, or like a felt sleeve. It's exactly like this kind of when we are put in the gold, maybe bronze or maybe copper, and also when in the silver, it's like we put some fake like brass or the copper. Then it's like gold is not really gold. It's kind of the false or fake like gold. And in this perspective, we better to do like this practice of the Vajrasattva and purification is like really gold. It's a chem to make the rich in our statement of the enlightenment. And that therefore I think is better do not put in the like kind of the ordinary speech of the brass or the copper into the like your recitations, meditation, or like doing things. That's very important. That is the while great master of the Orgyen, Guru Rinpoche said that most recitation with no other speech. It's better than a year of the defiled recitations. And this is like kind of, when you are like kind of years defiled recitations, mixed ordinary kind of the speech, and like your meditation, your like kind of the recitations, that is like kind of maybe is like better than that. You monthly recite with the no other speech. Maybe 1 month you can to like kind of the to stop the talking, or maybe it's like silently to recite properly to mental recitation, or silently meditate, silently to practice this. Is 1 month. It's such a kind of benefit. Then even if you are years make retreat with your kind of the defiled recitations, all the time is talking gossip things, mixed. Sometimes we call the retreat, or sometimes like this. This is absolutely truth. Sometimes we like go to in the solitude place, saying, I am the solitude place. I'm like kind of now in the retreat. But even during the recitation, meditations, we talk a lot of the good, bad, and spread in the other people's mistake and thing. And of course, between sessions, a lot of these things. Then retreat is not really, retreat is defiled recitation, defiled kind of the retreat, defiled mental recitation or the meditations. And therefore, even it's like if we are no other speech, if you are at home daily, if you do la practice, wonderful. No necessarily go to in the retreat place, no necessarily something to do, but at home you can do like kind of without ordinary speech. You can to recite few malas of the mantra. It's a very much profound, extraordinary. Then here is now a little bit kind of the talking about for the doer of the benefactor, like puja makers. This is like kind of the Patrul Rinpoche a little criticized to the monks, nuns, like some lamas doing to the other like kind of the benefit for other people, other beings. This being source, this being soul, it is of the primary the importance that those who are performing ceremonies in the village refrain from chatting within the ranks of the assembly while they are saying prayer and the mentorship. And it is very important if someone's invited you, and maybe these families, why you invited, why requested to pray, to say, then maybe this family, someone's sick, maybe someone's died, maybe someone's problems, and therefore they invited to you and to make some ceremony, maybe some like kind of the benefit. For example, he relates it, some families, sometimes they do in the many Buddhist countries. Also, maybe in the future we can do like this. Maybe some few sanghas, if some family sick, some family died, we invited some sanghas to say, please, can you do the Kalna Hyoto? Can you do maybe purification of that? Instead that, doing like Vajrasattva mentor, sadhana, someone. Then we says like maybe they give you food, like kind of invited, maybe offer money, something. And they are like kind of expecting to you. But refrain from the like kind of the chatting within the ranks of rank is like kind of the rule inside. Then it's like to face, turning to left your neighborhood, right your neighborhood, talking like different things, not concentrate what you are doing the sadhana, this kind of say. Assembly while they are saying prayer and mental recitations, very, very important to be silent, is it? And the such like kind of recitation are the mixed with the ordinary speech, the lost all their meanings. Maybe they invited to like kind of the house, go to benefactors. They like kind of preparations, they nice like kind of put a cushion, mandala, prepare the like kind of tea and food, everything. Then we start like kind of recitations, do the puja or the like sadhana, and then in the middle of the sadhana, and during the recitation of the sadhana, we lot of talking about the like ordinary gossip speech. And then this really sadhana is lost, lot of mixed. That is like the sadhana itself is gold and silver, but like a drawers put between there is like how do you say it? Thoughts, or like kind of the thoughts of the couple, or like kind of breast, like this. For example, the sadhana, it says there's like structures of the sadhana, how at the beginning, in the middle. For example, if you say it's like Benjasato, could you give me tea? Then this is need to go between there is. Maybe Benjasato Samaya Manipalaya, where's my coffee, where's my bread? That is like between you I put word. It's even, for example, dead person to listen to you, and it's not correct. And like there's a one Vajrasattva 100 sleep mantra, but this person is added a lot. Maybe there's exists 200 Vajrasattva sleep mantra, 500 sleep mantra. No, original there said 100 sleep mantras, the Vajrasattva sleep mantras. But we say, Samaya, where's my coffee, where's my bread? Then we added there is like kind of this sort of like ordinary speech. Then they are lost meaning, or like kind of not very good. And in the particularly when at the ceremony, this being performed, or the someone who has died, very, very important things. That being in all the like terror and suffering of the intermediate state, that is absolute truth. When it's like kind of we after the died, for example, like kind of when we started the death process, The death process like kind of the external, our body's dissolution and start, maybe warmth and heat and all element, body like kind of element, water element, fire element, everything's going slowly. Of course, it's like kind of the big turmoils. We say it's like if universal collapsed, how much we are afraid. Say. For example, someone says like, oh, now universe is going to collapse. I want to drink. Better to like ignore to death. They drink like a strong whiskey and vodkas. How much we are afraid. But maybe externally universal collapse is like maybe not yet. One day surely, but inner our own individual universe, 100% sure. Soonly to coming to like kind of collapsions, and that time is like kind of externally our like kind of body is collapsed, no more animal like instinct, no cannot hit, cannot talk, cannot to hear, then is dissolution started. That times who can to help? Not father, not mother, not friend, not partners. Even the Buddha Shakyamuni, God can come. How we can to stop our death process? Then we need to bear our own self. That moment is like we say is like invited some our sanghas coming, and maybe through great compassion and to recite the VAJRASATTVA mentor or intermediate pardo like kind of introduction Guru Rinpoche, very purely and like kind of the sound is like correctly. 100 syllable mantra you recited very correct. These sounds can help to this dying person very much. Then after this person who is like died, then being is all the terrors. Of course, when it's like inner dissolution, like a kind of the white red like experience is connected in the heart level, and that moment is we are separate our mind and body, and then it's like we be in the intermediate state pardore, and that time is maybe some occurring to the dharmata pardo, some is like self our to nature, but we couldn't recognize because we haven't got any experience, just like kind of passing by, lost. And then we need to go to in the pardo of the becoming. Of course, there is such a terror and sufferings. Maybe we can hear some such laments and sound, like sometimes you can to imagine, like kind of in the ancient times, in the Rome, there's like entertainment. How do you call the killing each other? This like squirrel. And someone is like fighting, and then all 100,000 people say, kill, beat. This sort of sound this is we call the self sound. But we are hearing something externally. And in the front is a very big foggy. We cannot to see nothing. Behind there is the karmic wind. We cannot to stop. We need to continue. And that moment is someone is like kind of very kind, compassionate, and making sound, say the fortunate friend, fortunate person, fortunate being. Now you are in the pardo of the intermediate. Be careful. This is now like to remember your peace, the instructions, remember the deity, recite the mantras. Maybe now it's like it's a time. Maybe you immediately to recognize you're like death. You understand the death is not really existence. Maybe you can control the death. You can to make liberate yourself. Like this. But if you like kind of the going to there, very much distracted, you making the puja or recitation mantras, very much interrupt inside a lot of gossip things. Then it's like this dead person itself is very much confused, but more confused. What you sending like kind of messages? For example, if someone's died in the Dharma perspective, the families, they never cry. Why? If you cry, if you say, it's like our tear is like become very bad for them. And therefore, we are crying, it's useless. Instead that, if you love, if you really to kind of the taking care, more do the virtual things. Do the generosity, follow up the discipline, and to be patient, to continue to help other left families, and diligently to do the virtues, and meditate, concentrate meditation on the Vajrasattva, dedicate to your dear who's lost this, and through your wisdom, like kind of the discriminating wisdoms, to kind of what is the positive, negative things, how you can to dedicate, how you can to help. If like this kind, it's such a benefit, such a helping like this. Sometimes ordinary people says, oh, I lost my something lovers, they cry and sending tear and shaking. What is it? They never come back. You cannot to help nothing. Maybe more worse. Intermediate, someone's reach in the intermediate state. That moment you need to support. Like same as we are right now. For example, if you got some very, very dangerous situations, maybe someone's to make more you are scaring or very dangerous. Now you take blah, 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 is you lose more problems. Maybe that time someone's to like kind of give self-confidence. Now you should to relax, maintain, you need to power, a little kind of supported. Like this, that is very important. Well, it's like while rush to the sponsor, the invited monks and the officiating lamas is like a specific lamas, they're doing this thing in the hope of the obtain help. Maybe they like kind of put lot of helps. Those like kind of someone is be in the intermediate state, then it's like those families, such a kind of suffering problems. Maybe it's like kind of they invited some monks, some lamas, or some any sanghas. Say, please, can you do this kind of that sadhana to help like this? They put a lot of hopes in the living beings. Also dying persons, dead persons, of course. Being in the intermediate state, what is happening in other minds. This one is like they put greens, maybe like a little bit translators come from later, maybe. And then is if the people doing the ceremony are not clearly concentrated, if they have not keep their vows and samayas, or if that they say and think arise from attachment and hostility, and like a kind of the dead person when we are died afterward, and then it's like we are become kind of the omniscient. Really is a consciousness to understand. When they are like left families, some ask to the lamas or the like kind of sanghas, they make pujas. Then they give something, money, food, something. And then of course this dead persons in the intermediate state pardos, and they can also put hopes, and then look at those doer of the pujas. Maybe they like kind of doer pujas are like kind of during the ceremonies, there's no clearly like concentrations. Their mind is very much distracted by ordinary thoughts. And also what they say is like kind of not correctly. Thinking arise also not correct, no compassions, or how they serve us food, how they give this family, blah, 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 from like kind of the attachment, and also like kind of the hostility means it's like kind of what they kind of give to ours. And this sort of different kind of their minds is have. This is like kind of the intermediate step bardos. They kind of like perceive these ones. And being in the like kind of the intermediate state will feel hatred towards them, those puja doers, or like kind of the have negative views about them. Say, look, they invited, but these lamas, these monks, these sanghas, they're like kind of doer of the dharma, but not correct. They are not qualified, not really is like proper. Look, they are doing. It's like kind of the same as our workers. If we are workers invited, maybe these workers to do like kind of, they say I'm a professional, I'm like fantastic, I'm doing like this, but maybe there are a lot of tricky things is coming. Then it's like owner is become very sad, angry, disappointment, exactly like this. Like the puja doer is like kind of worker. You do the puja is benefit for the dead person, but you don't do your job properly, then of course the dead person has a lot of negative view about them. And as the result, we fell into the low realms. It's like kind of that you make more angry this dead person. Of course, maybe the dead person has result some negative affections during the life. Therefore, it may be terrified in the intermediate state. Then there is something in the intermediate we make provoke to them. They're more angry, more make negative. And this sort of, he says, like take him, who would be better off without the service of the such officiant as this, like a kind of this kind of the like a lama or the monks and like group to doing the like kind of the puja for the dead persons, not really no compassion, nor like keep the discipline, not kind of the doing the properly, even the someone's maybe not can do properly, but the kind of artificially, pretendingly doing these things. Here is said these sort of things may be better don't do like this. Patrul Rinpoche say, it is said of the ritual of the secret mental Vajrayana that to recite the visualization text of the generation phase is to use word as the meaning of the access. Here is like a kind of the generally speaking. Here is like yesterday I said, all the mental yanas, like kind of the secret mental yana, Vajrayanas, that when we doing the recite the mantras, visualizes like kind of the deities, all the text of this generation phase, it is very, very important what you are saying word in the sadhana. That is like kind of the gateway, it's like to how you can to generate. And like this is a very important. The word of the visualization are there to call to the mind the detail of the generation phase. That is like kind of more explanations. Why it is the gateway to the generation by the mean, the word and as the meanings. Word is like kind of you making sound by your mouth correctly, like kind of no mistakenly. The sound is like the meaning go together to the ear and go to into your heart. Then how you can to generate, how you can to visualize the like kind of the generation phase, creation phase, like kind of when we are practice Vajrasattva, when you recite the Vajrasattva praise sadhanas and correctly and like kind of the not mixed with ordinary gossips, and then it's like you're in the mind, the generation phase of the Vajrasattva is coming into your mind very clearly, and therefore we are recited the prayer of the Vajrasattva and correct the word and the meanings. And then, of course, during the mental recitations, it is very important how you can to repeat again and again to say it's like kind of receive the Vajrasattva's qualities. And also same time is you need to focus on it. That is the door of the samadhis. And same time is also during the like sadhana, you have many kind of the symbolic these things. This is like kind of you making mudra, how like kind of offering prayers and all this accumulation merits through your mudra. And also it can help like this. But for the people performing such a ceremony, proper subject of the visualization, which is the meaning and generation and perfect face, does not even cross their minds. And this kind of, it is saying, and during the prayer, the like a creation, like a sadhanat, or like kind of the prayers, but like kind of the doer of the puja ceremonies, they're like kind of the never this object or the subjects they come in their minds, like kind of they no direction also their mind towards the like kind of the generation. And in the word what they said we don't know. Sometimes we do like this when we recite the practice the hundro. When we start the Vajrasattva Adonyan Tamahivoras, then we reach the mental recitations, and that moment someone says, what is in the book says? I don't know it. Did you recite? Yes, you recited. But what I say, I didn't think about, just I read, follow you. Like most times like this we are. Then it's like you make a sound, it doesn't like kind of make sense. Because it's like when we say Adonyan Tamahivoras, my ordinary like kind of form, and the both of there is Vajrasattva. This when you read in English, when you really like saying things like meaning and word is coming into your mind. But if you not concentrate and your mind is occupied and other things, the mouth kind of the follow up making sound, but that is then is not really good. That means generations and perfection phase, generation and dissolution does not even cross their mind. That means they never coming. Even sometimes they don't know the meaning of the generation, meaning of the perfection phase. These two phases, we don't know. So what does it mean? Oh, you are doing a lot of sadhanas. Yeah, sadhana. It's kind of religious ceremonies. Then it's really become the religious ceremonies. We like kind of what we are doing. We don't know it's like a kind of this. Therefore, it's like whatever we're doing during the doing times, what in the text says. When we recite the text, what is in the says. For example, if I'm says like when you listen, okay, I'm says, oh, now I need one teeth. Then you think, this person's talking about the one teeth. You automatically to understand. If you don't listen to me, then I'm says, give me teeth. Then after, do you understand? I don't know. What did you say? I heard say something. And there's many kind of this kind of happened. And there's one Lama, he was one Chöpen. And this Chöpen is very much distracted, very much confused all the times. And then it's like there's in the sadhana and precious vow, now you need to give me, that time Chöpen give to the vase, to the Lama. And he said, oh, precious vase, now so give me, he couldn't kind of hear. And then it's like many other people there, he cannot to shout to him. And he said, oh, shit, guy, do you understand? I said, vast, give me. And, oh, sorry. But others, they think maybe it's a puchat, but destructive kind like this. And exactly like this, if you cannot kind of directions your what you say things, then it's not very benefit. It's like kind of really parrot, absolutely parrot. There's no benefit like this, and like never the mind coming across any kind of this generation and perfections. Then is there the like unthinkingly mouth the word of the ritual, like visualize, meditate, and concentrate, using all sort of the ornate intonation, blaring the thumbs, and banging away at the cymbal and drums. Of course, it's like kind of the empty mouth, like kind of the doing saying things is completely empty, nothing kind of the like kind of the useful. It is like kind of the visualization, meditations, and the concentrations. Not there is like kind of the mind is completely something else, and doing very very much funny things, embarrassing things, and then what is you are listen dharma, or you are conflict, how do you say, reflect on dharma, or you are like kind of meditate on dharma. It's kind of the using all the sort of the like kind of the ornate intonations. Maybe you say it's like a very looks like a kind of artificial but it's like actually you're not thinking about no compassion, nor like kind of thinking of the generation, that kind of the perfections. This kind of the like kind of the blaring, there is like drums. Of course, maybe they are doing the drums, damaras, or these things is, or the dharma instrument, and mudas. They are looks like crazy, and doing things, doing, but actually there's nothing. Just distracted mind and something. What they do, this sort of we need to do is they're useless. Now it's like if you want to do yourself benefit, we need to do, you do benefit for others, you do benefit for yourself. It is a very 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 important to like kind of the correctly. If you do some negative things, maybe you cannot harm to others, but this eventually and harming to yourself, nothing to harming to the others. Like this, finally the moment comes to the what should be the most essential point. It is the mental recitation, the approach practice. This is mental recitations. There the mantra is recited, at which point they just feel released of their duties. Before like kind of the doing during the sadhana, they need to do the to make the sound of dharma instrument and to follow their own duties. But they arrive mental recitations, completely relax, and even though you have nice postures, it's just to relax. Then it's recite mantra. When the said, where's tea? Oh, money be my give me tea. The what? Pen. Then start like kind of gossip things. That is not very good. They no longer even make the effort to sit up the state. That moment is like, oh, now we are rich in the mental recitation. Then it's okay, because our duty to make, how do you say, to take responsibility of the chopan, anzo, dharma, like instrument, everything's now finished. Okay, benza sato hon, now relax, to drink coffee and tea, this sort of. Then what we do, if you is quietly to drink, quietly to sit, it's okay, but not. They start kind of the smoking, tobacco. This is maybe is like some Buddhist countries also they do. They're like kind of, this one is like doing it. But this is the source of the 100 of the wrong actions. Many different things. Loss and the rich store of the endless chats. Not necessary kind of the lot of like chat gossip things. Endlessly discussing all the local goings. Local going? Like how's our village? How's our government? How about our office? Very bad. Yes. How's your job? My jobs. How's your family? Yeah. There is like kind of from the mountain top to the valley flow. Means like start to gossip to top of the mountain, go through the valley and go through the below of the flow. And then it's going up, down, like from the like kind of the passes to the like kind of the lowlands. That means it's like kind of the in Tibetan idioms. It's like kind of the apple this valley. For example, in the city, if I'm sitting here, how is the Brussels? And what is the government? In the Brussels, middle of the Brussels. Oh, yesterday this, oh that, this. And this sort of is like kind of chat too. How it is like a kind of the international. Oh yeah, there's a pollution. Oh, there's a natural disaster. Oh, there's a war. There's a pandemic. There is this sort. This sadhana is not very good. During the really do the sadhana, better to the sadhana and then it's like the meanwhile they spend the time pushing the rosary through that finger at top speed, like malas, like one benza sato summons 100 sleep mentor, you already mala is maybe 10, 20. But it's like when you say, 100 malas finishes, maybe you recited maybe few mantras, but your thumb is speed is very fast. Like this. And also when we recite the mantras very correctly, normally you mala is holding like this, and in your heart level, not kind of outside doing like this. You need to do like this, your siddhi to coming inside like this. And also don't do like mala here, and the heart level is good, like this. And here is saying this is maybe we doing like this, maybe some puja makers, surely they do like this very much. As if they were making sausage. This to like kind of, one the butchers, then when they make sausage, it's like this. There's like the mala is like mala sausage, we can say. Maybe there is sometimes this has happened. Towards evenings, in the evening, they glance up at the skies, like gazing in the sky. Oh, we are too late. We should to finish it quickly, the sadhana, because we need to go home. And also sometimes says like, okay, now it's like I'm hungry. It's for ourselves. Now I'm tired. I need to cook. Okay, now I finish it for the like lunch or for the dinner or for the breakfast. And like this, there's a glance up at the sky and seeing the sun is a position. Maybe in the evening, like kind of shadows coming. In the sun is a start setting. With the hunger, like kind of the clat is a huge clat, like the clattering of the symbol starting chanting, like kind of the bands are and making the nice sound, and because they need to quickly finish the sadhana, and then Benza Pupidavi is like kind of re-offering, they're offering these things, and then so on. This is not even a pale reflection of the purple ritual, no even the reflection of the reflection. This is kind of the, not really kind of the purpley ritual, it's kind of the pale reflect really kind of doing puja. For example, ancient great masters, if someone's died or someone's sick, you should to do like this and that. If you do this kind of sadhana, it's such a benefit. There the structure, guideline, everything. Then it's later they kind of follow. Like for example, Kalin Shotosa or Karma Limbas, they like treasuries, very wonderful, spacious sadhana. But then there are the structure guideline, and they are kind of doing this. This is like they tools. Maybe they doing like in order to receive money, food like this. But it's like kind of imitating reflections. They are not doing it properly. And also maybe ourselves, when we are doing hundros, it's exactly like this. Maybe like kind of when we're doing hundro, maybe benefit for sentient beings. Maybe we practice Rinzandupa, Yanka, Vajrasattva, this kind of when we're doing things, is a kind of the great kind of sadhana, purification environment and all the sentient beings. We like kind of doing, okay, this is comes from Teta Limba, Jigme Limba, these things. But of course, externally, we say we're doing Dzogchen, we are doing Mondros. But actually kind of don't do the properly, then it's a reflection. This is like kind of even the reflection of the reflections. Reflection and reflection. This, for example, our face is on the reflect. This is on the mirror reflection. It's not really our like kind of really face. And this reflection to other mirror reflect, then of course fake and another fake like this. Therefore, if we doing things, better to properly, correctly doing is very important. And like this, then can be little doubt that just reciting the confession of the downfalls or the prayer of the good actions once with perfectly pure motivation would be far more worthwhile. And we say it's like, instead of doing like this, like kind of the reflection sadhana, fake kind of this puja doers thing doing, and maybe you can invite some, maybe it's like compassionate practitioners to like kind of ask, like kind of there's we are doing like normally, confession of the downfalls. This means it's like kind of 3 hips, like the sutta, and the prayer of the good action is the Samantha Bhatta's aspiration we're doing in the end of the 3rd practice. This sort of, it's not a big sadhana, but we can invite some compassionate sangha, some kindness, say, can you do this kind of puja? Maybe much better than the doing big, huge sadhana. And for ourselves, it's like kind of the distractedly, doing very funnily, and mixed negative emotion things, and like kind of show off many things. Like then says, I'm doing Mondro, Rinzandupa, blah, blah. And instead they're doing, maybe it's like to generate bodhicitta, small things correctly. Maybe these things is very, very important, he says. This is more like and would be far more and worthwhile. Like this is much better. And lamas like these, those impure recitations and like kind of the transities of the ritual send the dead off to lower birds. This kind of like a kind of the recitation, puja, like impurity things. It's instead benefit more harming things. Maybe it's like kind of harming things doing more, making rebirth of the lower realms. Instead there is like same as the above says, some compassionate, kind person ask to pray that this confession downfalls or the prayer of the good actions. While likewise to far more harm than good with there's the ritual for the living. And sometimes it's like this sort of persons inside full of the negative emotions, inside full of the destructions. You like kind of pray for the death, maybe not benefit, making more worse, making more low rebirth. Even it's like kind of the living beings, if you ask some inside maybe some negative like kind of thoughts, disturbing, then it's like maybe not much benefit, more kind of the harm. If you like kind of the says requestion prayers, and someone asks, can you please to pray for something our family seeks, and maybe you doing show off something, say, oh, I did like kind of the millions recitation of the Buddha medicines, and I recited a lot of for your benefit. But inside you have a lot of disturbing emotion, there's interrupt a lot, then maybe not very much benefit. Maybe if someone's asked to us, like to say present, maybe very much deep good heart, compassion, kindness, you send in one single recitation of the Vajrasattva, such a benefit. That is the obvious. And therefore, it's like we can to send some virtues to the dead person or living persons. It's very important to have great compassion, silent, good motivations. Doing that is the benefit. There is not kind of mixed disturbing emotions, not very much benefits. Moreover, like kind of the abuse people offerings. In this way, it is exactly what is the mean by swallowing red hot metal balls. This is like kind of the abusing people offerings. This means it's like misusing people's offerings in this way. Someone is like kind of the say, can you pray for my family, for my someone's lost, this kind of, then they kind of support by like kind of financially and kind of the food. And then is you are not properly to pray to them, then this is the abusive properly offerings, misusing like this kind. Then exactly what is the mean? For example, like you are swallowing hot red metal balls, it came to burn your mouth, burn kind of the your like kind of the thyroid stomach. Therefore, if someone is eating the like kind of offering food, you need a special teeth, like a kind of 32 teeth of the generation stage and the perfection phase, and then you can to tune this offering red balls. Without red hot metal bowl, is very difficult to eat. And if you have compassion teeth, tongue, and it's like the generation teeth, like perfection teeth, and then it's like you can to eat offering red hot metal bowls, very easy for you. Digestion's fantastic, you can easily chew. Without that, you're like kind of contaminated tooth, flesh, tongue, and then you eat offering like a food of the hot metal bowls, very dangerous. Kind of the in the alive received some is the Vajra health, and therefore is it we say is taking care benefactors doing of the pujas. Maybe of course in Europe our areas not very much, but maybe also we are asked to someone, it's like kind of can you pray like this and that. And this is a very like kind of important things. And also it's like kind of you need to connect to someone's very important, okay? Generally speaking, I want to say is like, for example, if someone's lost the family, okay, died, and then you ask some practitioners, can you please to prayer? I think it's like without any connection, it's like very difficult to receive the benefit. For example, maybe if you are like saying it's like, I offer you one biscuit, maybe one candle I'm sending to you, please could you help pray for my like dead like kind of the or something I lost my friend or families. Then this kind of connections. And then it's like, I want to just take example. For example, Ndonchen Hivesh Dorje, once he's traveling, and one guy, he's very, very rich, he's one son and the father, 100 yaks they have. And then his father's offered to the Ndonchen 100 yaks. He said, when I'm died, and then he said, can you help me? And then Ndonchen said, yes, Ndonchen. And one day they are traveling, certainly in the evening, Rinpoche's tent, there's one, the owner of the 100 yaks is enter into the tent. And then attendants, oh, why this guy is coming? It's quite, we are very far. And a little bit while, and then he went, but this person not there. And he said, Rinpoche, this owner of the 100 yaks, why he came very fast? Huh? You saw, and yes, don't say anything, because he's dead and he coming to me like kind of the, to repayment. I offered 100 yaks. Now I'm like kind of need help. And he says, no chance, I need help. And like he's died, therefore he's coming to me. And then connection there is, and he's going to there. And then it's like 1 day after, then his sons sending to message to Ndonchen, is my father's died, can you pray? And Ndonchen say, oh, it's okay, he's already came to me. Like this, sometimes connected is like kind of the very important. Sometimes we are like new kind of, we are without nothing connect, kind of empty mouth says, oh, please, could you help them? Maybe if someone has such kind of ability, realizations, probably they can to help. Maybe, why not? But generally, if you something to connect it, then you dedicate it, very fantastic. For example, we say our relative, our like kind of families, sometimes the family lost, when we do not need to connect, because we have connect blood, like kind of any kind of linked there is. Then we doing virtual negative things. Everything can affect to the families. Like this is very important. You just to sometimes we are particularly some sanghas gathered. And that times if you lose some our family or friends, if you request to like this, and like you don't donate something, nothing. For example, if maybe there's 100 sangha, if someone say, please, I lost some of my family, can you pray to do the VAJRASATTVA sadhana? Maybe the monks or they're like the Dharma practice, they're coming together, they do maybe 2-3 hours, and then they're going back. But you like nothing there is donate, no food, no like kind of nothing. Then there's no connections. It's difficult to receive like this. Maybe it's like a kind of connections. I'm sending maybe like 100 pack of the tea leaves, tea package. And can you offer it? That is links. Maybe I send into the 100 candles, maybe one big of the biscuit, and during the day making puja, can you share to them offer? This connection is a very small thing. Oh, I need to connect to huge things. It's not necessary. Connecting between this is very important. Then in the futures, maybe our tradition. For example, there's in the group ZPRs, sometimes we ask to them. And in this case, it's like maybe in the futures and the Sangha coming together, or maybe through the internet, through the maybe together some place. If some family lost, we coming together to pray. but maybe kindly sanghas, maybe they never mind, they can do. Maybe if we can to offer one food, one like kind of small things, for them it's nothing, not necessary. But we are like kind of connecting theirs. This is very important. It's just I want to give information. Maybe we are like kind of starting to say like this. And here it says the lamas and the monks who are the profit from the offerings of the faithful and the possessions of the dead should have as the very soul of their practice something more than on a valuation of the quantity of the meat. Thus like the thickness of the cheese and the quality of the offering they are getting it. And also it's like there is like of course sometimes it's like this kind of happened. Some sanghas is like kind of the monk and the monasteries. Someone is like kind of a request to say pujas. And then this during the pujas is like kind of they really need to concentrate. Very important. They mind. It is like kind of the generation stage, dissolution stage, and compassion, like nature state. But like kind of the day on the mind is like kind of any kind of the doers. Maybe it's like they're doing for the dead person, or they're doing it for the living some beings, some sick, or like this. They cannot kind of thinking about the, it's like kind of the size of the how much you receive the food, pizza or kachapuri or bread or meat and this sort of, and or momo and or thick of the like kind of the cheese or yogurt, and I received, you don't receive, maybe like this kind. Today the qualities of the offering, they are not like this. For example, sometimes in Tibet we do, someone is like kind of persons, to make the steam, how do you say, you like sewing your cloth, there's this length of the sewing, like a thread. If sometimes it's like 10 is like to like a sack, look pipe, and 10 inside the thread, then offered. And that is like kind of, maybe is even the not 1 cent of the euro, but it's connect. Maybe some monks, lamas, also sometimes we do in Europeans. It's like, okay, someone's offered to like this, what can I do this one? If someone's offered to 1 cent of the euro, what can I do? I don't need it. Thank you. I will do for you. Say, of course, you don't need it. You need to accept that, to pick up. Yes, thank you. You need to say this person's like comes from the heart, and like kind of ask to you requestion to pray for that. It's like kind of you thinking 1 cent euro. What can I do? Maybe almost you want to put in the rubbish. Never ever think like this. If you earn money, you can put rubbish. Offering this, even one person gives 1 cent. That is very important, valuable. As you need to take in care. Through this, you are connected to the sentient beings. Through that, like therefore, very important. Do not think like this, like kind of the size, quality of the meat, and thick of the cheese, quality of the offering. They like how much they're getting. Yes, like this. And maybe and like this, maybe next sentences is very easy. Whether they are the working for those who are the sick or those already dead, the moment is crucial for those beings, for the latter have no refuge from their suffering. They need to be caught and secured by the love and compassion of the lamas, bodhicittas, and the secret sincere desire to help them. And of course that is a true kind of, they like kind of the source of the refuge and like kind of the taking refuge, there's a doer of the precepts, like compassion and the kindness. And where they can to take refuge, they are like kind of very typical situations. Maybe someone's already dead, maybe they are in the pardo of the dharma, like kind of the intermediate. Maybe someone's movement really kind of big sickness, like it's like a living beings. Some preachers very need urgently, quickly the release from the sickness, like this. And this kind of point, they are taking refuge into the like kind of the your lamas, or like the sanghas, bodhicitta, and like this. There is no kind of nobody's like how they can to make kind of the refuges. So often they need to be the caught and the secret by the love and compassions. They needed that. Then it's like it comes from the lamas bodhicitta and the compassions. They have very much desire, eager to have lamas compassions, sanghas compassion, sanghas kindness. And like this, the lamas should make very effort to the practice, whatever they may know of the generation and perfection phase, and sincerely and without any distractions. If you do like this, then it's such kind of the benefit. Absolutely. It doesn't matter you call the lama or you call the practitioner, nun or the monk or lay persons. If you have like sincerely, deeply in with your heart, and to practice this generation and the perfection, absolutely such a kind of the benefit. And whatever you understand, maybe you don't understand perfectly, but whatever you understand, that sincerely from deep of your heartily to practice, there's such a benefit for other sentient beings, 100%. Okay, we can to stop 5-10 minutes, and then we will see.